Hi everyone, so today's video is going to be about victims and a victim mentality. So a lot of the time people will develop a victim mentality when they become conditioned either through childhood trauma and abuse or through adulthood abuse, mostly through like partnerships, or usually a boss is usually the two people that are able to trigger these kind of issues in people, besides of course their parents. So what happens is that we start to believe, based on experience, that if we fight back that we will be knocked down harder. So the victim mentality comes into play when we decide that, or when we realize, probably as a child, most of the time as a child, that we realize that when we fight back against the abuser, that it'll just lead to more pain. So then we start to take on this feeling of powerlessness, where we accept that we are powerless, right? And nobody really like consciously believes that, unless they're currently living in, like a internment camp or something. But I'm talking about on a subconscious level. Because a lot of the times in childhood, we are just taking in everything from the environment like a sponge. So we may not even realize that we've established this belief that we are powerless, because any kind of fighting back will just bring on more abuse. So we stop fighting back because that's the only way to survive. So then these survival issues kind of mess up our solar plexus chakra, which is related to survival issues and personal power. A lot of energy vampires will also cord to the chakra to drain your personal power and energy from this area. And then it can take a long time to recharge, and if it goes on long enough, like in chronic abuse, then we slowly start to lose our perception and feelings of personal power. So, the way that we can kind of snap out of that victim mentality is realizing that, like, we are allowed to fight back. It's not selfish to put ourselves first. And, fighting back doesn't mean you're sinking down to the other person's level. Because there's a difference between trying to, like, seek revenge on someone out of anger and hatred, and then fighting back, meaning you're using, like, self-defense to protect yourself, right? So, even in, like, Native American cultures, which tend to be, more peaceful, or at least more focused around, like, the tribe and everyone being included, you know what I mean? There are still, like, warriors to fight back against the environment or other tribes or whatever. So in every culture, it's like there's this idea of, like, yes, it's good to be at peace and feed love, but not if it means being, like, a martyr. Do you know what I mean? Because I definitely am afraid of being a martyr. I hate the idea of being a martyr. It repulses me, because I feel like I was victimized for so long that it's like, why would I want to keep being a victim? I'd rather, be an abuser. Or at least that's the thought process behind people who try to break out of the victim mentality, which then creates more abusers, right? So the way out of it is just to see that, like, someone is draining your energy or attacking you in any way, whether it's emotionally, verbally, physically, whatever. If it's physically and you obviously, like, can't fight back, then you should definitely do things so you can fight back, whether that means, being armed or whatever. It's all about just realizing that we always have choices, even if we've been conditioned to believe that we don't. So fighting back against an energy vampire might just look like you being your own energy, looking out, seeing them as like some googly-eyed goblin trying to suck out your goodness, and then you have to realize that you have the power in that situation because they want something from you, right? Because if you've ever decided to try the dark arts and you've tried to drain an energy vampire, which, like, I will admit that I've tried to do that out of, like, anger and revenge, it doesn't even work, because there's nothing there for you to drain. All that's there is just pieces of souls and the energy of other people. So then it's like, okay, you realize they're attacking you because they have nothing within themselves, which then makes it easier to just like fight them off with your energy, not by setting up infinite defenses and shells of protection and being super armed and being extremely cautious like I tend to be, but rather just punch their energy in the face. Like, sometimes it's literally that simple. And I don't care if people who are like, oh, love and light, don't like that, because sometimes, like, that's what it takes. And it's not out of anger or hatred or revenge. It's just about the rights to your own energy and your own energy field. So I hope that made sense. And, yeah. I'll see you soon. Bye.